Checking, checking, checking. All right. Looks good. Hold on a second. Go back. View speaker. Okay. So you'll have to excuse me if the sound quality is not as good as it normally is, because I'm using another computer because we're going to do a slideshow. And so that's life in the mature world. The microphones on this computer are not good. And we're going to do a slideshow about Govardhan since it's Govardhan Puja today. But before we do that, we are going to chant the Damodar Ashtaka prayers. Okay, ready? Namo Vishwaram Sachit Anandurupam Lasatkundalam Gokune Richamanam Yasodami Ulukalan Kapamana Naramistam Hachantatu Uchalubhya Unantamunetra Yupamrajantam Karamujatuvena Satanganedram Sashakam Patri Rekankakanta Sita Gravanda Modaro Bhakti Badam Iti Swadhila Bir Ananda Kunde Sweet Goswami Bhajantam Akyapayantam Yadi Sita Gishu Bhaktani Tatvam Muna Prematas Tam Shakti Prati Vonde Param Deva Moksham Mokshamadima Vajanya Rene Ambarisha Idam Deva Punada Gopala Bala Sadamena Nashavi Stam Kimanyoy Idam Demu Kambojam Adyantani Lair Ritam Gundadlai Snigdarakta Shagopya Ujumitam Bimarata Durame Manasavirastam Alam Lakshavai Namo Deva Damodara Ananta Vishnu Mata Ripa Drishti Vishtati Dinambatanu Grahanai Shama Magyam Maid Yakshi Drisha Whoever Majavata Mojaivatyan Vat Mochitao Bhakti Bhajao Krito Sha Tata Prema Bhakti Sukhame Priyaja Namo Shri Guru Mesti Damodareha Namaste Sudhamne Smuradiptidhamne Adiyodharaya Vishvashadhamne Namo Radhidaya Diyat Priyaya Namo Nandalilaya Devaya Tubhyam Namo Radhikaya Twadya Priyaya Namo Nandalilaya Devaya Tubhyam Namam Ishwaram Satchit Nandurupam Satkundalam Gokule Shamanam Yasu Yasonaviyo Lukalanavamana Paramishtamajantado Ruchagobya Run, Adamuda, run, Damuda, run, day. Run, Adamuda, run, Adamuda, run, day. Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada. Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jai Om Vishnupad Parahamsa Paracharya Altogether Shimad His Divine Grace Abhayachanana Bhaktivedanta Goswami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Gaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopi Gopinath Shayam Kunda Radhakunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavanam Ki Jai Maturadam Ki Jai Jagannath Swami Ki Jai Yamunamai Ki Jai Srimati Gulasi Devi Ki Jai Samavheda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Gaur Premananda Hari Hari Gaur. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories the assembled devotees, all glories the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Niktinamani Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharani Nirvashesha Shunyavadi Paschatyateja Tarni. So we can read the translation again of this poem by Satyavrata Muni from the Padma Purana. To the Supreme Controller who possesses an eternal form of blissful knowledge, whose glistening earrings swing to and fro, who manifested himself in Gokula, who stole the butter that the gopis kept hanging from the rafters of their storerooms, and then quickly jumped up and ran in retreat in fear of Mother Yashoda, but was ultimately caught. To that Supreme Lord Sri Damodar I offer my humble obeisances. Upon seeing his mother's whipping stick, he cried and rubbed his eyes again and again with his 2 lotus hands. His eyes were fearful, and his breathing quick, and his mother Yashoda bound his belly with ropes. He shivered in fright, and his pearl necklace shook. To the Supreme Lord, Sri Damodar, who is bound by his devotee's love, I offer my humble obeisances. Those super excellent pastimes of Lord Krishna's babyhood drown the inhabitants of Gokula in pools of ecstasy. To the devotees who are attracted only to his majestic aspect of Narayan and Vaikuntha, the Lord herein reveals, I am conquered and overwhelmed by pure loving devotion. To the Supreme Lord Damodar, my obeisances hundreds and hundreds of times. O Lord, although you were able to give all kinds of benedictions, I do not pray to you for liberation or eternal life in Vaikuntha nor any other boon. My only prayer is that your childhood pastimes may constantly appear in my mind. O Lord, I do not even want to know your feature of Paramatma. I simply wish that your childhood pastimes may ever be enacted in my heart. O Lord, the cheeks of your blackish lotus face, which is encircled by locks of curling hair, become reddened like bimba fruit due to Mother Yashoda's kisses. What more can I describe than this? Millions of opulences are of no use to me, but may this vision constantly remain in my mind. O unlimited Vishnu, O Master, O Lord, be pleased upon me. I am drowning in an ocean of sorrow and almost like a dead man. Please shower the rain of mercy upon me, uplift me, and protect me with your nectarian vision. O Lord Damodar, in your form as a baby, Mother Yashoda bound you to a grinding stone with a rope for tying cows. You then freed the sons of Kuvera, Manigriva, and Nalakuvara, who were cursed to stand as trees, and you gave them the chance to become your devotees. Please bless me in the same way. I have no desire for liberation into your effulgence. O Lord, the entire universe was created by Lord Brahma, who was born from your abdomen, which was bound with a rope by Mother Yashoda. To this rope I offer my humble obeisances. I offer my obeisances to your most beloved Srimati Radharani and to your unlimited pastimes. Jai Lord Damodar. So today we are commemorating Govardhan Puja Day. So we're going to be showing, as we normally do on this particular day, our slideshow of the Govardhan Parikrama. So you're very fortunate to see this, and a lot of these pictures were taken by me, and without further ado, we're going to go to the slideshow so we can get an opportunity to go around Govardhan, and hopefully, well, it looks like February or March, I will be going again to India. Looks like it. Anyway, we'll see what Krishna wants. So, Om Gana Timirandasha Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. As I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of my spiritual master's divine grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, who so kindly opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. So let us, here we go. Govardhan Parikrama, Govardhan Pilgrimage. And actually, I'm just going to check to make sure this is showing properly. Check with my phone. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. Oh. Give me a second, I just have to. Yes, works fine. Okay, so this is Govardhan Parikrama by Govardhan's humble servant, Bir Krishna Goswami. So let's proceed. And so this is a scale picture of Govardhan that was done by one of my disciples, Madhava Priya Devidasi. And if you can see, of course you can probably see the arrow, this is Govardhan in the middle, and the various pastimes of Krishna are manifested all around Govardhan. These are the pastimes we're going to be talking about, but let me just describe Govardhan for a second. You have the tail of Govardhan, and on the tail of Govardhan all the various incarnations of the Lord reside, and then you have the head of Govardhan. And Govardhan, they say, is shaped like a peacock. You have Radhakund and Shanakund as the two eyes of the head of Govardhan, and in the center you have the Manasa Ganga area. So let's proceed. So we know that Krishna lifted Govardhan hill for 7 days to protect the residents of Vrindavan from the torrential rains that were sent down by Indra. Indra was, of course, very upset. I'm not going to tell the story of Govardhan today. That is the story of Indra from the Srimad Bhagavatam, because that's reserved for tomorrow. Tomorrow we're having our festival in New Goloka, because tomorrow is Saturday in New Goloka. So, many of these pastimes were discovered by Krishna's great-grandson, or locations of the pastimes were discovered by Krishna's great-grandson, Brajanabha. Brajanabha came to Govardhan and the Braj area with some of Krishna's wives that were still on the planet, and some of Krishna's associates that were still on the planet. And when he came there, he actually had a kirtan, and during that kirtan, Radha and Krishna appeared along with the cowherd boys, and of course Balaram, and the gopis, and Nanda Maharaj, and all the residents of Vrindavan appeared before him. And he got the insight of being able to show the devotees where Krishna did various pastimes, where Govardhan Hill was, and he also installed many of the original deities at Govardhan. We're going to see some of those deities today, but some of those deities were actually taken to Jaipur and Udaipur to protect them from the Muslims, and other places in India, and Natwar to protect them from the attacks of the Muslims. But some of the original deities are still there at Govardhan. So this is a story that we're able to tell by the mercy of Brajanabha, Krishna's great-grandson. He was the son of Aniruddha, who was the son of Prajuna, who was the son of Krishna and Rukmini. And so here is our Govardhan Hill. Govardhan is non-different from Krishna. At the same time, he's the servant of Krishna. So how is this possible that he's non-different and also the servant of Krishna? We can compare his situation to that of Balaram. Balaram is always serving Krishna. It's mentioned in the Chaitanya Bhagavat and also the Chaitanya Charitamrita that Balaram serves Krishna as Krishna's Brahman thread, his seed, and various paraphernalia. In the same way, we find many of Krishna's expansions serving Krishna. So Govardhan is non-different from Krishna. So great devotees worship Govardhan by taking little pebbles from Govardhan and worshiping them as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The worship of Govardhan done in this way is on the Raganuga platform, the spontaneous platform. It's not the Vaidhi platform, it's the Raganuga platform. Here's a picture of Govardhan from the air, taken from one of our helicopters. So we start the Govardhan Parikrama at the Manasi Ganga area. And in the Manasi Ganga area, of course, we're going to describe what the Manasi Ganga is in a second. But there's the mouth of Govardhan. And this mouth of Govardhan is being fed, I think, 24 hours a day, because whenever I've gone there at any time of the day or night, they're feeding Govardhan's mouth. It's called the Mukara Vinda Temple. It's right basically in the center of the Manasi Ganga, which you see here, the Mukaravinda temple here is being reflected on the Manasi Ganga. So the Manasi Ganga was actually created from Krishna's mind, and there's a whole story behind it. And it's an aerial shot of it. another aerial shot of Manasa Ganga. And this is the shot of the Mukaravinda temple. So here's the story. Once upon a time, Krishna killed a demon in the shape of a calf. And when Krishna killed the demon in the shape of the calf, the coward boys got really upset with him. It was a pastime, of course. The coward boys really don't get upset with Krishna. But anyway, this was a pastime. And the coward boys said to Krishna, "You have killed a calf. This is greatly sinful, because to kill a cow, a calf, or a bull is greatly sinful, and you have to atone for it by bathing in the Ganges." And Krishna said, "Well, I'm not going to leave Vrindavan, so I'll create the Ganges from my mind." And that's how the Manasa Ganga got there. Later on, when Nanda Maharaj and Yashodamai wanted to go to the actual Ganges, Krishna said, "We don't want you to leave Vrindavan area. So this is the Ganges," and he proved it by having Ganga Devi appear from the middle of the Manasa Ganga. And then, of course, there's the famous boat pastimes that occurred in the Manasa Ganga, where Krishna, acting as a very old boatman, was helping the gopis cross the Manasa Ganga in order for them to deliver milk products to Govindakund. And they didn't know it was Krishna. And there's many things that happened. All right, I guess I'll tell the story really quickly. So Krishna said in the beginning, when he started to row the boat, he said, "I have no strength, so I need something to eat." So they gave him some of the milk products. And then what happened after that is he got very tired and said, "I can't row anymore, I need a massage." And the gopis said, "We're not going to massage you, old man. We're going to throw you in the Manasa Ganga instead. So you better row." So Krishna kept rowing. And then finally the boat started to leak and sink. And Krishna said, "You got to throw things overboard." They threw the milk products and the containers, of course, overboard. And Krishna said, "That's not enough. You got to throw your clothes overboard." And they got so angry with the boatman, they didn't know it was Krishna. They actually said, "We're going to throw you overboard, so just row." And then finally there was a big storm. And during that storm, Srimati Radharani, who you see here, noticed that there was the flute. And you see the flute right there in the belt of Krishna. And she noticed it was Krishna, and she grabbed Krishna, and they had their pastimes on the Manasa Ganga. Manasa Ganga is the largest body of water in Braj, at least it's supposed to be. Here's another picture of that particular pastime. The gopis throwing their milk products off of the boat, and Krishna just acting as an old man, making believe he was just and they're throwing their jewelry and everything off the boat, because the boat is starting to sink. And in the middle of this area is Sanatana Goswami's Bhajan Kutir, the middle, not in the middle of the Manasa Ganga, but right next to a temple of Lord Shiva, who is the presiding Dikpala, or protector, of Govardhan area. He's called Chakaleshwara Mahadev. Why called Chakaleshwara Mahadev? Because the Sudarshan Chakra hovered over this section of Govardhan when Indra was trying to inundate Govardhan and kept Govardhan dry. So this is the samadhi of Sanatana Goswami. Sanatana Goswami resided here for some years and composed some literatures. In the beginning, Sanatana Goswami was having some trouble with the composition of literatures because there were mosquitoes who were biting him. And so Lord Shiva appeared and said, mosquitoes will never bite you again, or never harass you again. And from that day forward, no mosquitoes harassed Sanatana Goswami. This is the Chakaleshwara Mahadev temple, which is right next to Sanatana Goswami's Bhajan Kutir. And this, of course, is the manifestation of Lord Shiva, who protects the holy dham of Govardhan. And next to that, really close to that, is the Manasa Devi temple. Manasa Devi is the presiding goddess, who is an expansion of Yogamaya, who is the presiding goddess over the Govardhan, or the Manasi Ganga area. And here are the deities of Manasi Devi. And next we're going to go to the Haridev temple. This is a aerial shot of the Haridev temple. Haridev is a deity that is self-manifested. Another aerial shot of the temple. Here's the entrance to the Haridev temple, going into the Haridev temple. And here's the deity. So Haridev is a deity that is self-manifested. One day, the gopis, they were looking for Krishna. And Krishna was hiding, and the gopis kept chanting, Haridev, Haridev, Haridev. And what happened is that Krishna manifested himself in this particular form with his left hand holding up Govardhan Hill with his right hand on his waist. And so the Goswamis of Vrindavan say that before one does the Govardhan Parikrama, one must get the blessings and the mercy of Haridev to get permission to go around Govardhan. So this temple is right there, right on the side of the Manasa Ganga. And here's a picture of the self-manifested deity, or it's not a picture, it's a painting. And this painting is part of the bigger painting that we showed in the beginning of Govardhan. We're just zooming in on different parts of that painting. So the self-manifested deity of Krishna holding up Govardhan Hill that manifested when the gopis were crying out, Haridev, 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 Haridev. And this is Brahmakund, when Lord Brahma bathed Krishna, which is right next to there. Now we're going to proceed around the hill. This is an older temple. This is actually the Dangati, the original Dangati temple. Although if you go there today, Dangati means the path over Govardhan Hill that the gopis used to take, and Krishna used to extract taxes from them. So if you go there today, they'll say this is not the Dangati temple. They'll tell you another temple, which is a newer temple, which is in the center of the city of Govardhan, is actual Dangati temple. Anyway, it's controversial. And here we see the hill for the first time. And we take darshan of the hill and circumambulate a stone which has Radharani's footprints right here. And there's very close to there's deities of Lakshmi Narayan. And one of the first things we do as we're starting to go around Govardhan is we pass ISKCON's temple, ISKCON Mahal, which was established by His Holiness Tamal Krishna Maharaj. Very, very beautiful place that's a retreat center for sannyasis and brahmacharis, and there they have deities of Krishna and Balaram, that is, Govardhan Shilas that are manifesting the mood of Krishna and Balaram, and of course, Gauranatai. And here's the Pushpa Samadhi of His Holiness Tamal Krishna Maharaj, which is right in the courtyard, the front courtyard of the temple. So, previously, before COVID, every year I used to take large groups of devotees around, and here you'll see some of the devotees. I believe it was like in January that this picture was taken, and it's very cold in January. I don't advise the devotees to go in January, and I don't advise them to go in the summer either. Best time is in February, March, or in October, November. Then there's this Dhani Nivartana Kund, which is a kund which signifies the place where Krishna tried to extract taxes from the gopis. We're going to tell this story. Here's the story. Once upon a time, Krishna tried to extract taxes from the gopis, and the gopis refused, and Krishna was very romantic in his attempts to extract taxes from the gopis. He said to Radharani, I will charge you so much for your beautiful nose, for your beautiful arms. And he went through her whole transcendental body, was charging her so much. And she got really angry, the gopis got really angry, and they were bickering back and forth over the taxes. They refused to pay the taxes. Finally, Yogamaya came, and she sort of made a mediation between the gopis and Krishna, and said the gopis can come back next day and pay the taxes. So when they came back next day to pay the taxes, you'll see in this picture on the right-hand side, they overpowered the coward boys with thousands and thousands of gopis and a few coward boys, and Krishna, and tied them to trees and threatened them with sticks. Of course, nobody really got hurt. This was a transcendental pastime. Near there is a place called Chandra Sarovara. Chandra Sarovara is a place where the moon was full for the whole night of Lord Brahma when the gopis were dancing with Krishna. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also had a bhajan kutir, here's his deity, on the side of Chandra Sarovara. Chandra Sarovara, of course, means the lake of the moon. And right next to this Chandra Sarovara temple, or lake, there's the Chaturbhuj temple, and there's a very interesting story about this deity. We're going to see the deity in a second. Let's go into the temple. Oh yeah, and Narayana Sarovara, like a lake right next to it, and Lakshmi well next to it. And then Lord Chaitanya's sitting place, we just saw the deity of Lord Chaitanya. And here is the Chaturbhuj deity. Chaturbhuj means 4 arms. So why does the deity here of Krishna have 4 arms? The reason is that Krishna was hiding from the gopis. And so in order to hide from the gopis, he manifested 2 extra arms. And when he manifested 2 extra arms, the gopis were fooled, and they offered obeisances to who they thought was Narayan. It was Narayan, because Krishna and Narayan are non-different. And then when Radharani came, Krishna was not able to keep the extra 2 arms in front of him. So by her love, she was able to control Krishna. So Krishna became powerless to manifest the 2 extra arms. It's a very beautiful deity. This is one of the original deities installed by Brajanabha, Krishna's great-grandson, Chaturbhuj deity. And so to go there, we had to walk across the fields, and here we're walking across some of the fields at Govardhan. Of course, it was a different time of year than the first picture you saw of me with the whole crowd. Then as we go around Govardhan, we get to a place called Gaurikund. Gaurikund is a very special place, because at this particular place, let's tell the story, Krishna wanted to meet with Radharani, and he made Radharani very, very angry with him. So in order to meet properly with Radharani, he dressed himself up as the deity Gauri. And then Radharani came into this temple, at the Gaurikund temple. At the same time, Radharani's so-called mother-in-law and so-called husband and so-called sister-in-law thought that Radharani was in there with Krishna. So they walked in and they saw Radharani, but not with who they thought Krishna was. They didn't see it was Krishna. They thought she is with the deity, Gauri, who has come off the altar. And Radharani, thinking that she had been caught in the act, offered her obeisances. And Krishna knew what was happening. So Krishna really chastised Abhimanyu, Radharani's so-called husband, by telling him, because you've committed a great offense by not trusting Radharani, you're going to be killed. And so they all begged Krishna, who they thought was Gauri, the goddess Gauri, for forgiveness. And eventually the goddess Gauri said, yes, I will forgive you only if you trust Radharani from now on. And so they left the temple, and they left Krishna with Radharani, and that happened at this place called Gaurikund. Another place is the Anakukshetra place, which we mentioned in the last few days in the reading of the Chaitanya Charitamrita. This is where the residents of Braj piled up all sorts of grains, foodstuffs, sweets, and everything like that to offer to Govardhan. And that's called the Annakut ceremony. And to this day, on Govardhan Puja, we have this particular ceremony. Whenever I'm there, we arrange for devotees from different places to prepare mountains and mountains of food and offer it to Govardhan at this place. And as we proceed around Govardhan, we enter this town of Anior. And as we mentioned yesterday, I think also the day before, Anior means give me more, give me more, give me more. Because when Krishna was given the foodstuffs at the Anakukshetra by the residents of Vrindavan, he was not satisfied. And he begged for more and more and more. And everybody got worried because there wasn't any more to give Krishna. Finally, they gave Krishna a tulsi leaf, and he was satisfied. So in this city of Anior, there's a Dauji temple, that means the brother of Krishna, who is Balaram. And here you see Dauji, and here you see Krishna, his younger brother. So Dauji Maharaj Ki Jai. This is one of these 2 deities are deities that were installed by Brajanabha. These deities are 5,000 years old. Very, very ancient temple. This temple is being taken care of by a family in the middle of Anyor. And they're very friendly to us, and we buy all sorts of paraphernalia for the deities whenever we go there. And when we're in the city of Anior, or the town, or the village of Anior, we see the location of where Gopal, that is the deity of Madhavendra Puri, was worshipped on top of Govardhan Hill. Of course, this temple is a newer temple. It's not the ancient temple, but it's the more or less the location that, and you can see it from the top. And they're worshipping deities there. Of course, the Gopal deity is now Srinathji, and he's worshipped in Natwar because he was taken away to save him from the Muslim invaders. So somehow or other, they've constructed this giant temple on top of Govardhan. And here you see another shot on top taken by a copter. And there's another old temple. Some say this is the Shiva temple. Some say this is the original temple that Madhavendra Puri established, but there's very little archaeological evidence to verify either claim. And there's the temple again from the side of Govardhan. Also at the side of the Parikrama path, as we're passing by Anyor, you'll find the Sankarshan Kund. Sankarshan is a reference, the name Sankarshan is a reference to Balaram. And Balaram collected all the water that fell around the Braj area when Indra was trying to inundate the Braj area, and he collected it in this Kund, and therefore this Kund is called Sankarshan Kund, right by the side of Govardhan. Now we mentioned Madhavendra Puri before. Madhavendra Puri, the grand spiritual master of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, found Gopal here, who is now Srinathji, and here's the place he found him, and we're going to tell the story in a second. So here's the story. One day he was sitting by Govardhan Hill just chanting, and nobody was giving him any food, so Krishna personally came and gave him some kheer. Then he had a dream, and in that dream Krishna led him to the place where the deity was hidden, where Gopal deity was hidden from the Muslims. The next day they uncovered the Gopal deity and installed him on Govardhan Hill with the Anakut ceremony. Here's an Anakut ceremony in which they piled up all the grains and rice and everything on top of Govardhan Hill. So that's Gopal. Gopal installed on Govardhan Hill. This is a famous Govinda Kund, and Govinda Kund was formed when Indra attempted to kill all the residents of Vrindavan. Then he realized he had made a mistake after 7 days, and then he came down with the Surabhi cow and with Airavata, his elephant, and bathed Krishna with the heavenly society, the heavenly Ganges water. And this water formed this Kund known as Govinda Kund. Very beautiful Kund. Picture of it from the air. It says, anybody who bathes in Govinda Kund goes back to Godhead. And here's the story. So once upon a time, there was the Anakut ceremony. Krishna dissuaded the residents of Vrindavan from worshiping Indra. Indra got very upset, tried to kill the residents of Vrindavan. Here you see the Sudarshan Chakra on top of Govardhan, just protecting the residents of Vrindavan, and Krishna holding up Govardhan Hill. Then Indra comes down, apologizes to Krishna, bathes Krishna with the water from the heavenly Ganges, and also the Surabhi cow bathes Krishna with the milk. And we're going to see Surabhi Kund in a few minutes. And so there's the bathing of Krishna, the Abhishek, and the residents come down, and therefore they give Krishna the name Govinda at this particular time. Govinda means the protector of the person who pleases the cows and the senses. So Krishna got his name of Govinda at that time. And then they crown Krishna at this particular point. All right. And the presiding deities of Govinda Kund are, of course, Radha, Govinda. Here you see them. They reside by the side of Govinda Kund. And there's another kund right by the side of Govinda Kund called Nipakund. It's not a kund anymore. It's just a dry area. And this kund was, let's say, there were trees that had leaves that looked like cups around this kund. And the cowherd boys used to take these leaves and make plates out of them, and cups, of course, and they would take their prasadam. Therefore it's called Nipakund. This is the place where Krishna stood when Indra bathed him, when he was apologizing for attempting to kill the residents of Vrindavan. Madhavendra Puri also resided on the banks of Govinda Kund. Here's his sitting place. That is, at least it's a commemoration of his sitting place and his bathing place, which is right next door. This is the bathing place of Madhavendra Puri. Madhavendra Puri is the grand spiritual master of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and of course the spiritual master of Ishwara Puri, who is the spiritual master of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And all trees in this area, and actually in the whole Braj area, are desire trees. So the devotees touch the trees, touch their heads to the trees, and make wishes. And those wishes come true. Okay, we leave the Govinda Kund area, and we get to Govardhan, right on the side of Govardhan. There's this Doka Dauji temple. Doka Dauji means the shocked Dauji, or shocked Balaram. Because Balaram was on top of Govardhan Hill watching things, and then he saw Krishna's rasa dance, and he was so shocked that he dropped his crown. Here's the top of Govardhan, and that particular, there's the deity inside there. So here's Balaram watching it, and he drops his mukut. So right next to there, on the bottom of the hill, is the Balaram Mukut Shila. This Shila was formed, at least imprinted, when Balaram dropped his crown, and it made the round circle on this Shila. And so we offer obeisances to the Shila. And as devotees are going around Govardhan, they're building little houses from the Shilas, the Govardhan Shilas, which I mentioned before, are non-different from Krishna. They're building little houses so that they will have a house in the spiritual world. So there's a very sincere devotee who, at the end of this life, will go back to Godhead. And peacocks on the top of the Govardhan Hill, and beautiful cows, Surabhi cows right by Govardhan Hill. Then we reach the tail of Govardhan. And at the tail of Govardhan, oh my God, we don't have much time. We see the Nrsingadev temple. All the different incarnations of Krishna reside on the tail of Govardhan. Different pictures of the Nrsinga temple. These are the path going up to the Nrsinga temple, and myself with all the devotees coming down from visiting Lord Nrsingadev. He's Ugra Nrsinga deity. And the devotees there let us take care of the deities sometime and bathe the deities. And at the tail there's also two kunds, which are called the Radhakund and the Shamakund of the tail, not the Radhakund and Shamakund of the head. This is the Krishna Kund and Apsara Kund, or Naval Kund, which is the same as Krishna Kund, and Apsara Kund. And these two kunds were formed when Radha and Krishna looked at each other, and they melted into the kunds. Their love was manifest in those kunds. And here you see the kunds from the air. Krishna and the cowherd boys, of course, they had their pastimes here. And also at the tail, you'll find an expansion of Hanuman, because that's why he's so red, who's waiting for Krishna to come back. He's a cowherd boy. Or actually, Hanuman is an expansion of this cowherd boy. And he's waiting for Krishna to come back from Mathura. And Krishna told him, I'm just coming back now, right away. And Krishna didn't come back, so he's still waiting. This is the very tail of Govardhan. And an aerial shot from the tail, of the tail. Devotees walking around, waving. And as I mentioned before, all the various incarnations of Krishna are there on the tail of Govardhan. Here's a depiction of some of them in the painting. There's many caves around Govardhan. This cave is called the Mani Kundali cave. This is a cave in which Raghava Pandit, one of Lord Chaitanya's associates, would meditate, but Radha and Krishna would generally go into these caves of course, over 5,000 years ago, and how there are various pastimes in the caves. Here you see Radha and Krishna in the cave. Here's a picture of the inside of the cave. There's also a Nachi temple, a Sri Nachi temple there at the tail. And Airavata, that's Indra's elephant, made a footprint near the tail. This is the Indra Puja shrine. This is the place where Indra worshipped Krishna after he apologized, or during the time when he apologized. And here's the Surabhi Kund. Surabhi Kund is where Surabhi, the transcendental cow, from the spiritual world, kept the milk, which she used to actually bathe Krishna. And there's many opulent designs on the side of Surabhi Kund, and many deer, nilgao. They're called blue cows, but they're actually deer. And Rudan Kund, this is where Lord Shiva, was watching Krishna's pastime, and this Kund actually became formed by his tears. And there's a Kund on the outside that was formed by the gopis' tears. And the cowherd boys, they would generally play in that area. Indra Kund, which is just a very isolated area right now, was formed by the tears of Indra. So there's another Shila as you go around called the Dandavat Shila, in which you're supposed to offer obeisances to the Shila to get forgiveness for any offenses that you may have committed going around Govardhan. It's called the Dandavat Shila, and it's in the town of Jatipur. Now, we mentioned Gantoli before in our last few classes. This is where there was a marriage ceremony between Radha and Krishna, a very secret marriage ceremony in which their cloths were tied together. It's called Gantoli. And this is, of course, the same place where Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was able to see Gopal when he was brought off of Govardhan Hill, when there was the threat of an attack by the Turkish Muslims. A very, very old temple here. Near there is a place called Gulal Kund, and this Kund turns colors every year during the Holi festival, even though the devotees don't throw colors in here, but the Kund actually forms or turns different colors. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu spent some time here. Of course, this is where he saw Gopal, so there was a deity of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu meditating. And the Gulal Kund is the story of the holy pastime, which the gopis threw dyes on Radha and Krishna, and Radha and Krishna threw dyes on each other. Vilachu Kund is a very special place. Once upon a time, Srimati Radharani lost some earrings in this particular Kund. This is Radha Vilachu Vihari. So here's the story. And Krishna said, "I'll find them for you." And when Krishna went to find them, he found hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of different earrings, and he gave them all to Radharani, and she was very, very pleased. And there's also Uddhava Kund. It's mentioned that Uddhava, when he saw the great love of the gopis, he prayed to become grass and creepers in Vrindavan, so the gopis would walk on him. So it's described that Uddhava lives in this particular area as the grass and the creepers. It's a very sacred place. And it's, there's Padma, who's now a mother. She's actually old now. She's an old lady right now. But she used to go with us around Govardhan. And here's the great devotee who resided there. I hope he's still there. His name is Giridhari. And his father did 1,000 parikramas of Radha Kund. He takes care of the deities there. His father did 1,000 parikramas of Govardhan, in order to have him as a son. And he takes care of the deities, Radha Uddhava Vihari, and there's a newer set of deities there as well as the older deities, and he does this as his full-time seva. His son is now taking over. This is the Sadbhuj Mahaprabhu temple, a very new temple. Here you see we're entering the Radhakund area. And we're really not going to do the whole Radhakund Parikrama right now. That's a separate slideshow. But there's a Malya Hari Kund, and this Kund is actually very, very special. This is where the famous pearl pastime took place. Krishna wanted pearls to give to his cows and to the monkeys, and the gopis refused, so Krishna planted the pearls in the ground and grew his mother's pearls in the ground and grew some pearl trees, and he had multicolored pearls. And then the gopis, they got upset. They wanted the same thing, and Krishna wouldn't give them any of his pearls, so the gopis took their mother's pearls, planted them in the ground, and all they got were thorn trees. And then they really wanted the pearls from Krishna. They had some big argument, and finally Krishna relented and gave them each many pearls, and each of them had a box with their own name engraved on it. But at that time, all the monkeys, all the cows, all the living entities had pearls. As we entered the Radhakund area, there's the Shivakori. Shivakori is a place where there was a jackal who was being harassed by some boys, and Srimati Radharani saved the jackal. Jackal is like a wild dog, and liberated the jackal. The jackal went back to Godhead and became an eternal servant of Srimati Radharani. Here we are entering the Radhakund area. This is a few years ago, actually. And so we're not going to do the Radhakund Parikrama right now. So we've gone around Radhakund. I guess some other day we can do Radhakund Parikrama. And we've come to this place called Kushama Sarovara, which is a very famous place. And the devotees regularly bathe here. A beautiful picture of it at night. Picture from the air. The devotees taking some water. And of course this Sarovara was the place where Narada Muni bathed to become a woman. He became Naradi, so he could actually see the pastimes of Radha and Krishna, the Rasa Leela pastimes, because nobody was allowed in unless they were a woman to see those pastimes. So Narada had to change his gender. And many pastimes happen here at Kushama Sarovar, such as Radharani was collecting flowers. Krishna was hiding up in the tree. In one of the branches, he jumped down, and the branch shot up, and Radharani flew up in the air. And Krishna said to Radharani, "I will catch you." And she got really upset with Krishna. The Radha Vanabihari temple is right next to there, where Krishna becomes the hairdresser for Srimati Radharani. So here you see Krishna is combing Radharani's hair, and Radharani has a mirror in front of her. I don't know if you can actually see it. And she is looking at, not at herself, but at Krishna, as you see here. She's seeing Krishna. There's no vanity in Srimati Radharani's consciousness. She simply, see in the mirror, she simply sees Krishna. And there's a beautiful Uddhava temple, a very old temple there, right near Govardhan, right near the Vanabihari temple, right on the side of Kushama Sarovara. And here we are visiting. One of my old friends used to take care of this temple, and right now he's residing at the Radhakund area. A very, very nice devotee, originally from Canada, French-Canadian devotee. Nardakund, and this is where Narada composed the Narada Bhakti Sutras and the Narada Pancharatra, and also he preached to Kayadu, the mother of Prahlad Maharaj, when Hiranyakashipu was actually deep in meditation. And so this is where Prahlad Maharaj got his instructions. Narada Muni resided here. Normally Narada Muni can't reside at any place, but Braj is transcendental. So therefore Narada Muni doesn't have to succumb to the curse given to him by Daksha when he's in Braj. And here's the deity of Narada. And then sort of the center of Govardhan, when Govardhan goes under the ground, there's this place called Ratnakund, or the Shamkutir area. Shamkutir means dark, Kutir area, and Ratnakund means the jeweled kund. And this is where Radha and Krishna, they would swing. Also, well, here's the pastime. Also, it's a place where Shankachuda tried to kidnap Radharani, and Radharani was saved by Krishna and Balaram, and Shankachuda's shank or kancha was taken from him, and that shank became the jewel later on and given to Balaram. Balaram gave it to Radharani, and that jewel later became the Shaimantaka jewel. And the footprint of Krishna and a cow, right by this Ratnakund area. And this is where the Ratna Singasana That means the lion throne, or the throne, the jeweled lion throne, where Radha and Krishna were on. And so many pastimes, Radha Krishna pastimes, occurred in this particular location. Here's the throne, Radharani sitting on the Ratna Singasana. So many beautiful pastimes here. Gwalpukur is Pukur also means like a kund, or bathing place, where the cowherd boys would reside. And they would take their lunch. And one time Madhavangal had a bunch of ladus after performing Surya Kund, and they stole all of his ladus, and he threatened to curse them and complained to Nanda and to Kamsa. Then Krishna, in order to pacify him, gave him more, and everybody was happy. So this is another kund that Nanda stayed here on the way to Nandagram from Gokula. And Panchatirtha Kund is where the 5 holy rivers reside. As we're entering the city of Govardhan again, this is Narmada, Gomati, Sarayu, Kanchi, and Betri. And this is where we're entering the parikrama right now, because it's almost time and I got people coming over. This is where we host our get-togethers. This is a very special place. We have some houses here for devotees, and daily we give classes to the devotees on different subject matters related to Radha and Krishna. So, yes, that was Lota Baba, that's true. So, anyway, so thank you all for joining us, and that was the Govardhan Parikrama. And hold on, we got some guests here. Come in. Hi. Good morning. Please come in. I'm just finishing up my class here. Sure thing. But return light, please. Say goodbye to everybody on the internet. All right. Thank you all for joining us, and we'll see you all tomorrow evening when we're going to be speaking more about Govardhan. So we have a guest here and some things to do, and so we'll see you all tomorrow, same time, same station. Yes, this class is available on YouTube. It's been recorded on YouTube at the same time.